My Woman Magazine. I am so glad today to be joined by these wonderful ladies, Miss Jessica Martinez and Miss Kelly Seabrook. Hey, Kelly.
Hey, how are you?
Donna's out a little under the weather today, but Kelly, we are so glad that you are back. We miss you, girl.
I missed you guys as well. It seems like it's been so long ago, but it's so glad to be back.
Oh, I'm glad to have you. And you know, as we always do, we got a lot to catch up on. Okay. So let's just kind of dive in. On this particular edition of Amara, we highlighted, 4 African American female mayors in the state of South Carolina. In fact, there are quite a few more. And these women have really beat all kind of odds to get elected and re-elected, and we're so proud of them, and their stories are fabulous. So I'm encouraging everybody to please pick up a copy of this, subscribe and read about these incredible women. But let me tell you, all is not well for African American women running for political office in this state. This year alone, this past election year in 2022, we lost 5 African American women in the South Carolina House. 5 women. We were at 11, and now we're at 5. They're there. I lost the seat in June in the primary. 4 other women lost in the November election. One female retired and was replaced by an African American male. So that attributed to the loss. The weird thing about this is that women are kind of figuring out that maybe they're not being treated fairly. And we even had, and I don't know if you read about this or saw it in the news, we even had a state senator here in South Carolina who decided that she was no longer going to be a part of the Democratic Party. She's a Democratic senator and has been a Democratic House member, but decided that, it wasn't cutting it. So what do you think? Do you think that, there is a double standard for women, particularly black women?
Well, I have a question. How does that happen? Like, how do, I mean, I'm not as politically savvy as the rest, but
believe me, these questions are probably the same.
But how does that happen? Like, how did those 5 women lose their seat? Like all of a sudden, or?
Well, the reality of it is that census that we took in 20 decided how the seats were going to be drawn, how the map was going to be drawn. So basically across the country, legislators got an opportunity, in most states it's controlled by the legislative body, to draw the lines for the district. And when they drew those lines in 20 and 21,
when you say they, who's they?
The members of the General Assembly, they're dominated by Republicans in the General Assembly. They drew those lines so that they favor Republicans and that they disfavor African Americans. So we lost 8 black members in the House, 5 of whom were African American women. And the likelihood is those seats will not be returning for 10 years. That we will get a seat back in Lower Richland, the seat that was split, actually combined.
So was nobody watching, or how does that happen? No, because I respect the politics, but I don't really believe in it. Like, stuff like that. I just
sadly a lot of people don't believe it.
Yeah.
And that's the problem too, because the lines were drawn against us to begin with. Because as I said, the Republicans control, and they gained even more control. They have a supermajority now. They don't need one Democrat to vote with them to overturn anything.
Wow.
And so now, you're right. I mean, what happened to everybody else? Where were the Democrats when these lines were being drawn? Why weren't we screaming to the top of our voices, letting the public know what was at stake? That's a good question.
Because it seems like intentional, maybe I don't know better, I don't know. But
well, certain people, certain
it was
seats were
intentional,
saved.
trust me.
Certain seats were saved, others were sacrificed.
Right.
And, the sad thing about it is this is not personal. It shouldn't be, because at the end of the day, when you lose seats like we did, you lose the ability to have your voice represented in the lawmaking process.
Sure.
And that, those laws are going to continue to be passed for these next 10 years, whether we are there or not.
Right.
Whether our input is there or not, that's going to continue to be happening. But back to the original question though, what's your position? I mean, I'm a black woman. I know I was affected by this, so maybe I'm a little bit biased in my opinion, but do you think when you look at this, when you survey what's happening, do you think black women in particular are having a hard time politically?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that what it comes down to is net worth and the ability to network. You know, the problem is that most African American women don't have the financial means. It's very expensive
Yes, it is.
to run a statewide campaign.
It is.
Okay, and they don't have the resources. I mean, we don't have a history of generational wealth that we can tap into, and we don't even have the networking ability because we're not a part of that good old boy system and have those alliances who will support us. I think the other problem is I think some people have a perception of whether black women are electable.
That is so true.
So therefore, they are not going to
So
get
true.
money. Therefore, they're not going to vote for them. Why vote for them when they're not going to win it? So I think based on those three things that African American women have some hills to climb, you know, in order to, you know, win statewide election.
And it's interesting because when they rolled out the new national leadership for the Democratic Party, if you notice, we have Hakeem Jeffries as the minority leader. We have, I can't think of the man's name that took Steny Hoyer's place, but I think he's a Hispanic or Latino. And then we have a white female who became the minority whip for the House.
Right.
And we still didn't get a black female as the assistant leader.
Right.
We got Jim Clyburn, and I love Representative Clyburn.
Right. Sure.
But again, no opportunity given to what many people call the backbone of the Democratic Party.
Oh,
And that's
I've
black
seen
women.
so many surveys that, you know, African American women, they're the ones who come out and vote.
And vote.
I
And
mean,
motivate others to vote. And they're
Sure.
the ones that work the campaigns. And what's interesting is that now, and this was what was so great about these mayors, that these women said, you know, we have been helping a long time, but you know what, we believe we're capable of leading.
Right.
And it was not an easy task to win these seats, and some of them have been reelected. And they're not in predominantly black communities. They're winning in communities where blacks only comprise 25%, 30%. It's not like a 70% or 60% African American voting population. So we have to step out there, and sadly, the party doesn't always support in the way that they could. And I think that was back to the local senator who left the Democratic Party.
Right.
That was her issue, that the party does not support generally, and we don't have a good message. We're not getting our message out to the regular people. So people don't see, like you're saying, you know, they don't understand how politics affects everything. I mean, it's literally from womb to tomb, and even after you die, we got some paperwork for your family to complete in probate. So, I mean, you know, it doesn't end. And African American women are finally understanding for themselves the road that we have to take to get there, and we're fighting to get there. And I don't know that the establishment is really ready for that, but we have to make them ready.
What about the Black Caucus or?
Good question. We do have a black caucus in the Democratic Party. We do have a Democratic caucus in the Democratic Party.
Right.
And again, you know, a lot of that was very silent on these lines that were being drawn that affected all of us. And it actually has adversely affected those that remained silent as well. Because you had an issue with here's the reality of the politics of drawing these lines. You try to get a certain population. You had to have, I think for the House, it was about 42,000 people in your district, in each district, when you divide 5.2 million people by 124 people. You needed about 42,000 essentially to create a district. And a lot of folks in a lot of places fell short of that, particularly in rural communities. So that's when the parsing started. That's when the deal cutting started. And a lot of, sadly, the deals that were cut impacted black folk the most at the State House. And you're right, I didn't hear a lot from the Black Caucus. And a lot of people are concerned about that. Because you cannot, when you have nothing but your voice, you really have to use it. You cannot sit silent. When the numbers and the odds are stacked against you, quiet gets you nothing.
Hey, well, ladies, I don't think we're going to fix this here tonight.
No, we won't.
But with the next segment, we are going to discuss an issue that's been ongoing now for, I think, about 3 years that we may be able to fix. So stay tuned, and we'll see you in a bit.
The Comet provides transportation all over the city for bus riders.
I can get from point A to point B safely.
I can count on the Comet because they be on time.
The bus drivers are very courteous.
Efficient service, clean vehicles.
You can charge your phone up.
You get on the bus and you plug up.
The Comet allows me to have independence.
I would recommend it highly. Park your car, get the bus.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. Alright, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight. Both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand trying to text somebody back. Because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Good discussion, ladies. Good discussion. I can talk about politics all day. But listen, here we are 3 years in, and we are still dealing with COVID. The numbers are starting to click back up. And in South Carolina, DHEC has recommended, at least for more than half of the counties in the state, that in large crowds, that people should wear their mask. You know what that meant last time. All I wore was a mask. But do you think that people are getting COVID fatigue? I mean, do you think people are listening and are taking heed? Do you think that they're tired?
I haven't seen people start to wear a lot of masks again. Have you?
No, not at all.
Not even indoors. Certainly not outdoors. Yeah. But I haven't seen
in
that.
Large
Maybe
crowds. That's what they're recommending in large crowds. That you wear a mask. And I don't know why you think they're not wearing them. I mean, we don't have masks, but we're all vaccinated, and we're not in a big crowd.
But you know what? I get very frustrated because apparently with these vaccinations, we were supposed to be COVID, like rid of COVID, and here we are. Some of us have had the boosters, have had all our shots, and why is this still a problem? It's just, makes you not trust them. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I'm alone.
No, you definitely aren't alone.
And I do have a mask, and I do wear it, like, if I see somebody coughing, like, I will put that mask on, but, I'm just not really prone to just, hey, I'm going to wear my mask. Maybe I should. I'm just not sure. I don't know.
You're not by yourself. No. I think a lot of people, they're just tired.
Yeah,
they're tired. And we're getting less and less information. We're not getting all of the information like we used to, like the number of people in the hospital.
Well, it was wrong information.
Well, come on now. That information about the hospitalizations, the deaths, those are real people dying. And
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, the information as far as, okay, get this booster, get this. I mean, because now there's people that are, apparently one of the boosters can get you COVID or something like that, or make you more susceptible to getting another COVID.
I hadn't heard that.
I haven't heard that one.
Where you getting that from?
Please disseminate that. I don't think that's true.
Well, I don't know.
But the sad thing about it, I think a lot of people are probably very aware you get that. But there are different variants and different strains, and it seems like the minute you get a shot, it seems like for that particular variant, here comes another
Another one,
strain,
yeah.
and it's resistant to that. It's like, where does it end? And I think people are getting COVID tired. You know, they're fatigued, and they just want to get on with their lives.
Right.
But some people never got over COVID. They got long COVID. You know, where they are still not back to themselves. They got over COVID in terms of the diagnosis. They're not
Right.
testing positive, but they're still exhibiting symptoms a year afterwards. You know, they call it long COVID.
Right.
And I don't know. I mean, I listen. I'm a skeptic, but I'm trusting that maybe we're being given good information about the real possibility that COVID certainly is not over. I mean, the hospitalizations are going back up in South Carolina.
Lord.
They are. The hospitalizations are going back up in the state, and then, you know, and maybe we're just on an upward swing and it'll end. But we are seeing higher numbers of COVID. That's why in over half the counties they're at high risk of COVID.
And what's scary, it's people who are vaccinated, who have done all the things
That's what
that
I'm
are
saying,
asked. Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, because I know I had the first round, then I got the booster,
yeah.
then I got the second
Yeah,
booster.
Now they
you
talking
know.
about it might be another booster.
Yeah.
And the weird thing about it is, if you look at, we used to, as legislators, we used to get some additional stats. But even from what I'm hearing, there are only about 60% of the population in South Carolina that's been vaccinated.
Oh,
Really? Just 60%?
Exactly. That's why COVID
Wow.
probably still.
Oh,
is
you
only
think
about
that's what it is?
60%.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So
I thought
you don't
everybody
get,
had,
if people,
yeah.
no, a lot of people have
Really?
never gotten a vaccination. They're waiting on herd immunity.
See, I didn't know that it was the 60%. I thought it was much higher than that.
It's about 62%, 64%.
Wow.
and then some people just got the first shot and
And
not the
didn't get the
second,
second
never
one.
got
Yeah.
the second.
Yeah.
I don't understand the rationale, but I mean, if I'm going to
Right.
start it, I'm going to finish it, but I don't quite get.
I think a
How
lot
it
of them are
happened.
just kind of skeptic. They're hearing what you, wherever you got that from. And a lot of other people are hearing that same news, and they're
Yeah.
taking it to be true. That, you know, it doesn't matter whether you get the vaccination or not, because you're still going to get COVID. Well, you might still get COVID, but you hopefully won't die of COVID. And a lot of people, the death toll has gone down significantly,
Right.
but people are still nonetheless contracting COVID.
Well, switching the subject
Yeah,
for
get off COVID. Let's get off COVID.
as a realtor, lots of folks are investing in properties and renting them as Airbnbs. But cities and counties in South Carolina are developing restrictive rules about prohibiting or limiting, Airbnb rentals. So, first of all, have any of you ever stayed in an Airbnb?
Oh, I am.
Well, you know, I just did. in
Oh, you
October.
just
I
did?
stayed in my first Airbnb in
And how
October.
was it? Did you like it?
I
or-
loved it.
Oh, I did too.
I loved it.
Yeah,
We were
yeah,
in
same.
Jacksonville. Short story. We were in Jacksonville, and we were there for a conference. It was our anniversary, and we kind of a little business, a little bit of play, and we stayed in a bungalow in
Oh,
Springfield,
nice.
in the historic section of Jacksonville, and it was in a very
Nice.
diverse part of the city, and it's a lot of Black history in Jacksonville that I never knew. So we took this tour of the
nice.
Black history sites in Jacksonville, Florida, and it was wonderful. But the Airbnb was the bomb.
So it looked
nice.
like the pictures.
It looked like the pictures. It looked like the pictures. And it was just so nice to be in
Yeah.
a neighborhood and to be able to walk to the corner. There was a nice diner there. There was a little convenience and grocery store and walkable. It was just, I loved it. I loved it.
Well, what's nice about an Airbnb, especially if you're traveling with a family, you know, you could like all be in the same house, or all your friends could be in the same house, rather than have different hotel rooms and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
So
And
it's so
hotels are stuffy.
convenient. Yeah.
Well, with all these restrictive covenants, I mean, do you think it should be restricted or limited? What do you guys think about that? Like, for me, if I have a property and I don't want nobody telling me that what I can or cannot do with it, or that I can't use it as an Airbnb. I don't see what the problem is. I mean, what about you?
Well, I tell you what, I think the concern had been was that in some neighborhoods, people rent out the Airbnbs and college kids have big parties and they get drunk and they mess up the yards and they, just do all kind of bad things. And then some were concerned that there were too many Airbnbs, too many rental properties around them, and that was going to drive down the value of their property and they lived there.
Yeah, I don't mind you having one as long as it's not like next door to me.
This is weird though, because now when you almost have to apply to go into an Airbnb. I mean, people can decide that you're too much of a risk, or you've never, like with us, we've never actually rented one. So our daughter, who has rented one multiple times, she kind of vouched for us because people are that selective. So I don't know. Some of the restrictions might be a little too much because you gotta give people the freedom to become somewhat, gain capital. I mean, we all know that that's what they do, but I wouldn't want to have a neighborhood with just Airbnbs. If I've lived there all my life, I wouldn't want every house or every other
But there's
house to
like
be
penalties, like if you are renting your property and somebody abuses it.
Yeah.
You have access to their credit card.
That's true.
They have to pay a fee. I mean, but I can understand, like you said, as long as it's not your neighbor.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you see people constantly coming in and out. Who are these people?
Well,
You know what I'm saying? And they
Yeah.
turn them over. I'm from Charleston. I mean, there's Airbnbs all over the place.
Really?
And,
Really?
yeah. And so, the problem with that is, what Charleston is complaining about is the hotels, they have all these taxes.
Yeah.
They go back to the city and they're losing a lot of revenue
Yeah.
when people go to Airbnbs rather than into the hotels.
So maybe
things
the
like
answer
that.
is some level of taxation that's a little bit comparable to what some of what the hotels
Sure,
would be
that might be
generating. But well, listen, this is a great discussion. I know you would love this since you're a realtor, but I'm pro Airbnb. So let's stay with us. We're coming right back.
Part-time job, full-time hustle, all-time Shiro to all of us. It's time for you, our Shiro, to stretch for the stars. A free online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Bring it. Time out, guys. I'm late to dinner. My mom's gonna kill me. Catch you guys later.
Mom wants us home. Okay. Bye, guys. You guys need a ride?
Sure. Yeah. All right. How about some one-on-one? I gotta go eat, man. Sorry. I'll see you later.
Welcome back. Welcome back. So, ladies, the Federal Reserve says that inflation is getting better and prices are going down.
Thank God.
I don't see it.
Yeah, I know. But, I don't know, the gas prices are going back up for a gallon of gas. Yeah, and they're inconsistent. I mean, there's a 30-cent slide from one gas station to the next on the same street. But have you seen the price of eggs? I mean, that is crazy, but a lot of people still can't afford food, can't afford the utilities. We've had some crazy weather even in South Carolina, 9 degrees, 5 degrees.
Right.
And there are a lot of the supplements that the government was providing during the pandemic, those have ended or are ending if they haven't already ended. So, the price of eggs, the price of food, it's real. People are still hurting. Yeah, people are still hurting. So I throw this out. Have y'all had to make any adjustments? Anything look differently now? Now that money a little short. Exactly.
I mean, for me, absolutely. So I just, I really have to think about like transportation wise, like, is it really worth me driving there? Because, it's so expensive, and even buying food. I mean, goodness gracious. I say, y'all putting those snacks back. It's not in the budget.
We buy eggs instead, right?
Yeah, make you want to just get a chicken and just get a chicken coop. And
well, a lot of people are doing that.
Yeah.
They're getting chickens and raising the chickens and the chickens are laying
Well,
eggs.
now I'm sure a lot of HOAs are not going to go
true.
but
Yeah, no, your HOA.
you gotta hide it.
You can't have it.
You gotta hide your rooster.
I didn't know that chickens were allowed in the city of
They are,
Columbia.
though. They
And I
are.
have people who are saying they have chickens now and they're getting their own eggs and everything.
Yeah. There are restrictions on how many you can have, I think, or something like that. But I remember a few years back, they allowed that in the city limits. Yeah, yeah. I know a lot of folk are probably taking advantage of this.
Well, Wendy, I'll be honest, I'm not going to resort to chickens.
I know that's right.
You don't want to have a little quack quack?
No way.
I don't think so.
But you know what? We are having to make some adjustments. And the weird thing about it is you make these adjustments thinking, okay, it's going to get better, and you can't control certain things like the credit card debt that you might be carrying and how the rates are going up sky high. And they're going to continue to go up because that's the source, they say, of trying to bring down inflation. But most Americans have a lot of credit card debt. If the credit card rates continue to rise, it's going to affect the buying power of families along with everything else. It's scary to me. It really is scary that we are in this kind of economy where you can't even plan.
Oh yeah,
Right.
The interest rates are now at 7%?
Yeah.
Between 6 and 7%, right?
A lot of
So
home
that's
buyers are not able to buy like the house that they want because the rates have gone high, so their ability to buy has gone down. So they have to settle.
Well, y'all, I know, it seems like our time goes so quick. And it's just good to have you back. I said, Kelly, it's so good to have you back. We're looking forward to getting Donna here, Kelly here, and Jessica here, and me here all at the same time. We'll have a big party.
Yeah, sounds great.
But, right now, we finished our show today. So we hope that folks that you've enjoyed it, that you've learned something that inspires or empowers you. And don't forget that you can watch Amara anytime on AmaraWoman.com.
Don't forget to like Amara Woman Magazine on Facebook.
And follow Amara Woman Magazine on Twitter.
Well,